You're listening to the Lone Star Plate Podcast with your host, Patrick Scott Armstrong.
Hey y'all, how we doing? Welcome to another episode of the Lone Star Plate. It's been a minute, but we have good reasons. So, let me explain. We recently launched another channel called Vetted. What is that about? Well, put a link down in the description so you can go visit it. But basically, it's about UFOs. Best way to say it, right? If you've been a fan of the channel, you've noticed last year we started doing a few episodes on it, right? I even had James Fox on. That interview did very well. Put a link to the description down below so you can check that out. It's almost at 50,000 views, so thank you so much for the support on that. He's a UFO documentarian, made, in my opinion, the best documentaries out there about the UFO phenomenon. And, you know, last year we got into it. It was still a small blip on the radar. Now, of course, it's just blown up, right? We launched our channel before we even knew all of this stuff was going to happen, to be honest with you. But we were intrigued, right? Last year I went to Area 51, made a video about that. Yeah, it's a little corny, but still, we're new to the space. So I'll put a link down below to check that out too. That definitely didn't get the views I thought it would. And I spent a ton of time editing that too, which was crazy. But anyway, regardless, we're in. We have a new channel. We just got over 500 subscribers. We've had some amazing interviews on there as well. Avi Loeb, Harvard scientist, head of the Galileo Project. You've seen him all over the news. Oumuamua. That's all you need to know. Google that. And Nick Pope, he's on Ancient Aliens. He worked for the UK's Ministry of Defense studying UFOs. He's basically like the UK's like Fox Mulder, from the X-Files. And then we also had on Mick West, who is the world's leading, he likes to call himself a science skeptic, which I totally understand. He spends a lot of time debunking sort of UFO videos, and maybe debunking isn't the right word, but that's what people say. Looking into them and trying to figure out the truth about them. And he's the most well-known in the world. So we've had some great interviews on the channel, and I thought, you know what? Let's do a video for Lone Star Plate where we can promote this new channel. I've been waiting to kind of do it till we had, some meat on the bones there on the channel. I do a daily video on there every day at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, U.S. time, about the UFO phenomenon, which is why we haven't been working on Lone Star Plate as much. So anyway, but I decided to call our good friend, Bob Schneider, Austin music legend. Love that guy. Love having conversations. I couldn't think of anyone better to talk about UFOs and the UFO phenomena. See where he's at on it. What does he think? I sent him a couple of videos to watch to prepare from our channel, and it's a crazy conversation for sure. I thoroughly enjoyed it. As always, I love talking to Bob, and yeah, sort of to promote this new channel we have Vetted. So without further ado, let's jump in with Bob Schneider and UFOs. So again, please check out our new channel, Vetted. I'll put a link down in the description so you can check it out and subscribe if you haven't already. We're blowing up, y'all. Okay, so our trajectory is fast, and we're doing great, and I love it. So anyway, let's jump in with Bob and talk UFOs. See what happens. Thanks, y'all, for watching.
Don't get me wrong. I don't like when people don't think the same way. I mean, don't get me wrong. I just
you're still an idiot, but
yeah. After a moment, I go, well, what does anybody know? What can be known? Speaking of what can be known, vetted,
vetted, baby.
Dude, I don't know why you call it vetted. Again, just call it what it is. The blind leading the blind following the blind getting together and being blind together. The blind still, after talking about being blind for a long time, still blind.
The blind optometrist. That's
blind
me.
Talking about what sight might be, having no idea what sight is, and then at the end of the day, still being clueless. Or call it vetted.
No, my friend made a funny joke. He's like, dude, that show's hilarious. He's like, it's like
It's funny.
you just say things and then you go vetted. It's like it's like Bigfoot. We looked into it, vetted. Like, UFO vetted. Like, I was like, you're so right. It's so
Dude,
corny.
I have to say, the show's good. That your editing is great. The show's great.
Thanks, man.
There's a lot of humor there. I'm just gonna assume that all the humor is there on
Oh,
purpose.
of course, man.
Yeah,
I'm
great.
self-deprecating, all about making people laugh.
It's
And
fun.
yeah,
Fun stuff.
that it's supposed to be fun. That's the idea of it all. Granted, I have gotten a lot of hate, Bob, from the community, the UFO community. They think I'm a government agent. They're quite convinced I'm a shill, as they put it.
I mean, there's no
It's
difference
like,
between the UFO community, the hippie community, the Christian community, or any community where you put fill in the blank and then community. Like,
yeah,
what are you a part of the just be part of the human race community, which is we don't know shit. Nobody knows anything.
correct.
And anybody who thinks they do, they don't.
Yeah.
So if you're joining a community because you think that that community knows what they're doing, you dumb. Okay, I guess I just pissed everybody off. Everybody in every community is now, oh, wait,
Oh
I
no.
hate you.
Oh no,
I hate
Bob.
you, Bob Schneider.
They're gonna come after me now. How could you platform this guy? He's talking shit about UFOs.
No, I'm not talking shit about
No, no, I'm
UFOs.
not. I know,
Dude,
I'm
I
kidding.
love UFOs.
Yeah.
I love UFOs just like I love Jesus, just like I love Santa Claus. Like I love superheroes. I love stuff. I love mythology. I love great stories. I have a great imagination. I write songs for a living, where I'm just making shit up. My whole life, all I've done is make shit up and then sing it to people, and then people are like, "Oh, that shit's real." I'm like, "Well, emotionally, it's real, but all of the things that I've used to construct that emotion are all just made up, just like everything's made up in the world." Now, when it comes to UFOs, I love the idea of UFOs. I love looking at UFO footage. Like, did you watch the J.J. Abrams series on
Yeah.
UFOs?
On
It's
Showtime. It's
so
called UFO. Yeah.
so
Recommend it.
great. That
Highly
first
recommend.
episode, they just show you all the footage of all the UFOs. You're like, holy shit, I've never seen it all in one place before. It's like Pornhub for UFOs, but without all the where they pee on each other and vomit and stuff. Like,
What? What?
dude,
What are we talking about? Holy,
talking
what kind
talking
of
about porn.
UFOs? What
No,
kind of, yeah. Oh.
I'm talking about Pornhub. I'm talking if they took out the stuff in Pornhub that really was gross.
I just had a thought like, what would alien porn look like? I don't know why. I just
I
put
don't
those two
know.
thoughts
Anyways,
together.
no, but that I love that show. And the first episode is basically to get you to subscribe to Showtime, which I did, of course. I'm like, I'm watching the rest of this
I'm
shit.
in. I'm in. Yeah.
But then every episode, they're like, well, then they get to, I think it's the fourth episode where they just show like how all these things can be made to look like that. And you're like, oh, well, of course that's what that was. Oh, of course that's what that is. And then you get to the episode where the guy who's the head UFO guy, that's not the government, but the head, like Joe Schmo, whatever the UFO research, he's like, yeah, from what I can tell, is all the UFO stuff we've ever seen is all man-made. Like none of it's real. That doesn't mean that there aren't UFOs. That's the way I think about God. Like just because all religions are fabricated by men doesn't mean there isn't a creator or a God or that created
Correct.
this experience that we're having.
Correct.
I absolutely believe in God. And when I say God, I mean something that's responsible for this experience that I'm having and that you're having. But that doesn't mean I'm going to believe that this other stuff is true. I don't think it is. So with UFOs, it's the same thing. Like, of course, they're aliens. Of course, there's more stuff that we don't know about going on. But, until I see, until they wheel out a fucking spaceship or they wheel out an alien, it's magic. It's a magic trick. Just because somebody can produce a card, out of your pocket, like how'd this card get in my pocket? It's it didn't magically appear there. Somehow the guy got it into your pocket somehow. I know that it's, so as much as I want to believe in aliens, as much as I want to believe that this whistleblower guy is telling the truth, and he probably is telling the truth, but what he's telling the truth is what people told him.
Right.
He hasn't seen anything.
Well, he has seen some stuff. It was in he did a French interview in a French newspaper where he was asked if he has seen anything firsthand, and he says he has. He just can't talk about it yet. Now, what does that mean? I don't know. Does it add
It
to his
means he
credibility? I don't
it
know.
means the guy probably didn't understand what the guy was saying because he was speaking in French.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy asked him point blank, the Australian guy asked him point blank, like, have you seen anything? He's like, well, I've talked to people who've seen stuff.
Yeah, that's a good
And here's
point.
the thing. Once you get to a point where you're like, because here's the thing about human beings. We all want to matter. Like, we want to be important.
Yeah.
Men are redundant. We are unnecessary. You and I are absolutely unnecessary for this world to continue. You and me know that. Maybe not consciously, but subconsciously, somewhere in us, we know we have to be important. And if we're important enough, then we get to impregnate the women in our cave and we will survive. Our genes will continue to go. And that part of being a human being is so important that it makes us do everything. It makes us make buildings and write songs and create podcasts and whatever it is that we do as men, because we are unnecessary. But if we're important enough, then somehow we become necessary, and that's really important to us. So you've got a guy, he's this whistleblower guy, and he comes out and gets all this heat, probably for the first time in his life. He's so important. Everybody is looking to him for answers. And dude, that's so addictive. Like, you want to keep that hot heat of the spotlight on you. So yeah, at a certain point, he's like, no, I can't talk about it. I haven't talked about it yet in the other interviews, but I did see some shit.
I did see some
Just
shit,
keep that hot heat. Keep the hot heat on me. You know what I mean? And I don't know, again, maybe he did see some shit, but I know how people are. I get it. I understand wanting that attention. Like, you see Jordan Peterson, Jordan Peterson did that thing. It was like, you're not going to tell me what pronouns to use because he's a fucking Canadian, who like it's very peculiar about language or something. It's like,
yeah.
it sounded dumb to him. So he did this thing, and all of a sudden he becomes this like poster child for the alt-right. I don't think he's an alt-right guy, but all of a sudden he's like getting all this heat, and he even talks about it. I saw an interview or biography on him, and he talks about how like these maniac leaders aren't necessarily, they're kind of formed by the people as well, because that's probably what happened with him. At a certain point he was like, oh yeah, maybe I do believe this other stuff that I didn't think I did, because everybody will love me if I believe, you know what I mean? Like, it's hard to like just stay true to your convictions. Even now, talking to you, I kind of want to edit what I'm saying to make sure that, people don't hate me or despise me, or, I want to be loved, but I also want to tell the truth. Also, nobody gives a fuck, dude. Thank God. Thank God nobody's listening to this podcast. There's like 3 shut-ins that are listening to this podcast, so it doesn't fucking matter. If we were on Joe Rogan right now, there'd be a tsunami of fucking shit coming my way. But now there's 3 guys who don't know how to work the internet watching this show. They don't even know how to leave a comment. So I'm not worried about it. Jesus Christ, dude.
That's right. Speak your mind. Nobody cares. Look, my
Nobody
dog
gives
is
a fuck, dude.
our only listener here, right here.
What a cute dog.
Yeah.
How long have you had that dog?
10 10 years. He turned 10 in February.
How old is he?
10.
Oh, he's 10. Okay.
10. Yeah. Yeah.
Man, I just got a cat, and it's been a minute. I've never owned a
Really?
cat. Yeah, I had some roommates who had cats like
You don't seem like a
25
cat
years ago.
guy. I don't know.
Well, my T level's at an all-time low, I'll tell you that. But I do love this cat, dude. I've always loved cats, but when you own one, there's something real magical that happens there.
I had a cat once.
I,
Yeah, I
I
love
love
cats.
I
I love
love dogs
animals.
too. Yeah, I love animals.
I'm just an animal person.
I say that, but we have a bunny, and I don't give a fuck about this bunny, dude.
Bunnies are a little harder, right? They're not very like.
They don't. I mean, they're kind of interesting to see. Like, so
Yeah.
we let the bunny out of the cage, so the bunny's like shows up in your sight lines every once in a while. I was like, oh, there's a bunny, and it's cute.
Shit. Yeah, there's a bunny.
But that's one side of the coin. The other side of the coin is you get these bunny turds everywhere.
I was gonna say, yeah,
they're just little rolled up, black balls of hay. But
yeah, dude, I don't want that in my house.
no, hell no. And it turns out I'm allergic to the Timothy hay, which is the main thing that they eat. So you got to get another kind of hay. Anyways, nothing makes exciting podcasts like talking about airborne allergens and
rabbit diets.
Hey, let's talk about UFOs by discussing pets and
UFOs.
food allergens.
Listen, I do have a question. This is funny. I was looking through searching your catalog of music, and you don't have one song about UFOs or aliens.
Well, I don't.
That I could find.
I don't have any that are on my studio albums, so they won't show up on Spotify. But I wrote a song called "I'm the Man from Outer Space." Now, it's not about being an alien. It's about a guy who's
got to write a UFO song now.
He's having an affair. He's having an affair with this lady, and he keeps telling her, "Look," she's like worried, like, "Oh, I hope we don't get caught." And he's like, "Look, I'm a man from outer space. I have no bones to be broken." He just keeps saying it. It doesn't really make any sense, but it sounds cool.
It does sound cool.
Having said that, I used to play the song with the Scabs. One day, this lady shows up. I say lady, but she was very young. I was pretty young at the time. This, 30 years ago. And not 30, 25 years ago. But she shows up kind of wide-eyed. After a while, when you're playing in the music business, every once in a while, somebody will come up, kind of got that glassy eye. You can kind of tell that they're crazy. You recognize it. And she comes up kind of glassy-eyed. During the show, walks up, puts a bunch of like newspaper clippings on the stage or where my mic is. I'm like, that's never good. That's never good.
That's kind of odd, right? I don't know if I heard of something like that.
It's odd. So finish the show. She comes up to me afterwards and I'm like, what's up with the paper clippings? She's like, I just wanted you to let them know to not bring the planet here. Yeah. Now, when you hear that,
what?
When you hear that, you're not dealing. You know what I mean? Somebody's got some problem. I'm like, what's the problem? And she's like, well,
it's kind of a cool line, though. Don't bring the planet here. I don't know if I ever heard that. I was like, oh, shit.
I guess they had discovered another orbiting planet or asteroid or something in the galaxy or something. And I'm like, and then it clicked because I was like, oh, yeah, I have that song, I'm the Man from Outer Space. And also, I had a roommate who had a schizophrenic break. And he thought that I was communicating through my songs to him. So I was already kind of clued into this idea that sometimes people think I'm talking to them through my songs. And by the way, anybody listening to this who thinks that I'm communicating to them through the songs, this isn't dissuading them from that. This is like me saying
it's possible.
No, it's like like to them, they're like, oh, this is the actual information I've been waiting for. He is communicating.
I thought you were going to say I am.
No, I'm not. I'm absolutely not communicating anything to anyone in particular with my songs.
Okay.
But if they're listening to this, they think, oh yeah, this is definite
This is
proof.
for me. Yeah, this is for me.
Anyways, so she thought that I was an alien and somehow I had something to do. I was like, look,
Wow.
you sound like you might have this thing that my roommate had called schizophrenia, and you should go see a psychiatrist and see
Wow.
the case. Anyways,
She did not.
she just kind of walked off, and
Well, of course.
she didn't get the answer she wanted.
Yeah. No, there's no dissuading. What I've learned in the UFO community is there's no dissuading people who have that really strong belief and or have had an experience themselves. It doesn't matter what happens out in the world. David Grush, whistleblower, this guy, that guy, this is a lot. Doesn't matter. What about my experience, right? That's what they fall on, and that'll never go away. Just like religious experience, ghost experience, right? Like,
Well, if you've had
you
an
know.
experience, I mean, I'm all ears.
Have you ever seen a UFO?
No, I haven't. But
Yeah, me neither.
I if you've
I
seen,
want to.
dude, if you've seen a ghost or a UFO, I'm all ears. Tell me
Yeah,
the
me too.
story.
Me too.
I
Me
love
too.
hearing about it.
Yeah, me too.
My old I was in a band called Joe Rockhead, and my drummer told me that when he was a kid, him and his brother, they were like 5 and 6 years old, were driving home from somewhere, looked out the back of their car, saw some spaceship or something following them. When they got home,
Jesus.
they were in the backyard, and he saw some like little gray guy, like little gray alien. Then years later, his brother said, I've only got one testicle. And he thinks that the alien abducted him and removed the testicle when he was that day. And then there's no like surgery marks or anything, but he only has one testicle.
But he's positive he had two before that experience.
I mean, how many, like when you're 5, do you know how many
I don't know. Are you
testicles
doing
have?
it? I don't know. Yeah, I don't even know what a testicle is at 5. You know,
No, nobody knows at 5.
they haven't dropped yet. I'm pretty sure they're
Yeah,
up inside, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know how it works, dude. I don't know. I have a son.
Mine are still up there, so I don't know. I don't.
I have an 18-year-old son. I can't remember if he had testicles when he was a kid. Dude, I tried my best to avoid that area. I mean, I did change his diapers, but I'm not like, you know what I mean? I'm like,
just cup checking, just like, okay, making sure they're there. Two testes,
cup
good to
checking
go.
no,
Okay.
no cup checking.
Dick, 2 testes, we're good.
I don't know. I don't know if there's.
I mean, that's quite a story.
It's a story.
That's quite a story, man.
It's an amazing story to me.
I mean, how do you make up something that when I hear stories like that, I think, who can make up a story like that?
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Who knows what the world is? I don't know. I love hearing it. I love hearing stories like that. I love hearing stories about people who have encounters with ghosts. I love all of it.
I'm all about the stories and hearing it, and I still have an open mind. My thing is when people get just so, belligerent on both sides, right? Of people that are skeptics and people that believe, they just like, if you question anything, you're done with them, and vice versa. If you sort of are open to anything, they're done with you. Like, how could you even think that that could be a UFO or alien? It's like, to me, of all the paranormal and supernatural possibilities that are out there, creators, ghosts, whatever, afterlife, interdimension, like the idea that there would be other life on another floating rock in space seems very likely to me. That's like a very likely scenario. You know what I mean? So that possibility that aliens would come here is the most likely scenario. That seems very likely to me. Now, whether or not it's happened, that's a different story. But ghost or create, we really don't have any evidence of anything like that. But we do have evidence of life on a floating rock. So that being somewhere else seems very logical and likely to me. That's why the alien thing is so intriguing to me. Is at least for me, it's super intriguing.
I mean,
fascinating.
Yes, the idea that there's other life out in the galaxies seems like if somebody said, okay, you could do a coin toss, or you could put all your money on if there's life outside of the earth in the universe. Correct. I'm betting all of my money. Like if it's Jeopardy.
Yeah, me too.
Even if I'm ahead, Like if I've got $50,000 and the nearest competitor has 5,000, I'm not betting 30,000 in case I lose. I'm betting 50,000
Yeah, and
that there's
rubbing it in.
life
Correct.
somewhere in the
Yeah.
universe, because there
Yeah.
is.
I agree.
Now, I will say this.
And that's the two questions, Bob, right? Is there life in the universe? And
Yes.
then has that life come here?
Well, that's the
That's
problem, because it's like it takes so long to get from one place to the next. Now, maybe there's ways to like, you know, get through, where you don't have to,
look, this
like
is
a
what they
portal
say.
or something. Maybe there's a
This is it.
portal.
Here, right here, right? So they do this thing in what is
Yeah,
it,
no,
Close
I know. And
Encounters,
then
right?
they bend it and then,
Boop.
yeah, boop, boop. Yeah, I know that. That's all great. That's all gravy. But yeah, I could do that.
I love when they do that, like, oh yeah, we'll just do that in space. We'll just go out there and boop space and fly through it. No problem.
Yeah, it's just like whatever.
Easy.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. The other problem too is like, look at technology in the last 200. Like we went from like driving a stagecoach 200 years ago to like iPhones, and we're probably going to be extinct in 100 years. So we have a 300-year period where technology went crazy, and before we are dead, all of us, because we fucked the planet to death, how are we going to, we're going to like somehow go to, not to Mars where there's nothing. How are we going to go 25 light years away to, and you know what I mean? So like that part's hard to figure out. But again,
Yeah.
I don't know. And I love the idea. Like I love the idea of an afterlife. Like that's so cool. How wonderful is that? I love the idea
I
of
don't know.
of meeting Jesus when I die. That's such a great idea. But I'm not gonna like
I don't know.
believe the Bible. Like it
Yeah.
just doesn't make sense to me, or
Yeah.
any of it. And again, I love hearing this. I love hearing stories of people that actually met, like that one guy that you showed in your thing where he was like, he just kept saying he was raped, and then I was raped, and then I was raped. Like, dude,
Yeah.
you can't say the word rape anymore, dude. You got to say like they made sweet love to me or they probed me or something. You can't use the R word.
Oh, bro. You should see the whole interview of that. I couldn't stop the way I edited that too. Like, that's on purpose because it's like, this is ridiculous, right? This guy is just like, I got raped. Like, dude, no, I mean, who talks about it like that?
They gave me an erection.
Yeah, he goes, they gave me an erection.
Dude, I was all ears. I'm like, how?
Um, you had me an erection. How did we get
Yeah,
there?
like the fluffers or what? Who's doing it? Anyways, I like that. I like hearing stories by
Those kind
people
of
like
stories, you know,
I like
to
the
me,
firsthand accounts.
well,
Firsthand accounts.
yes, that's true. That's true. Those firsthand, but those kind of stories here, Bob Lazar, other people, to me, they dilute this sort of real search that there is within this community of people trying to find out if this is real or not. And I can respect that because if you really dig deep and you really start looking into details, there is a lot of smoke and it is very odd. It's just odd. They keep saying
Well,
there's no fire, but then there's all the smoke. And you're like, but this isn't adding up. So I know there's something going on. I'm not saying it's an
well,
alien thing
well,
or
the
whatever,
thing,
but there's something going on.
well, the idea that they proposed in that Showtime series is that the government,
Like counterintelligence sort of thing.
like everybody was concerned about nuclear war, the
Yeah.
Cold War and nuclear war, and they're like, well, let's take their minds off of it by giving them this alien story that they can gnaw on and think about, and that'll take their mind off this real thing, which almost happened with the Cuban Missile Crisis.
That's
And
true.
it's something that could have happened. So,
Yeah.
like, yeah, it'd be easy to fake that. Like we plant some metal stuff. The guy comes out, sees the metal stuff. Then we come back the next day. We replace it with balloons. Then say it was balloons, and then the guy's like, "That's not what I saw. I saw metal shit." Like that's such an easy fake. And then
No, you're right.
everybody believes in aliens, and
It's
same
great misdirection, right? I mean, it
it's
really
great
is.
misdirection. And then you got the pandemic happens. Everybody's freaked out about the pandemic. Everybody's at home. Everybody's having a hard time. All of a sudden, the government's like, oh, check out this cool beam footage we've got of these aliens, and everybody's like, oh wow, because it's cool. Like you look at it, but then you look at it and you're like, well, it's a little dot on the radar, and you got this really awesome, believable pilot, who's like, that guy's definitely telling the truth about this encounter that he had with this object that he can't explain, and we can't explain. But then you can go, well, Rogan's like, well, it could have been a hologram, or it could, you know what I mean? It could have been something that we just don't know. Same with magic. Like you see, guys, there are people who believe in magic. There are people that believe magic exists. And so when they see a card trick, they think that's magic.
Yeah.
And I think that's the way it is with a lot of things with people. Like people want to believe in magic because life is, we don't know what we're doing here. We're here, born. There's no manual.
Right.
Everything's made up. We've just
We're not
made
sure how we got here. Right. Yeah,
everything's made
exactly.
up.
Yeah.
And so so you're scared.
Yeah.
And really what gives life its true, like, the thing that makes life wonderful is that terror. Like if we knew what life was, if we knew beyond a shadow of a doubt, like if Jesus came down and said, look, you're all going to heaven when you die, immediately life becomes completely boring. Everybody's like, well, I'm killing myself now. Like there's no fear of death at that point. Like you have to not know what happens when you die for life to be important, for it to make sense, for it to like be exciting. And so, yeah, so all of us are scared to death. So as soon as somebody says, hey, I've got the answer, people want to believe that answer so bad because they're so scared. They're scared to death. They want their blankie, I want my blankie.
Yeah.
I want my
Yeah.
mommy and I want my blankie.
Sure.
But unfortunately, I can't, for me, it's hard for me to accept things that don't ring true. So if I see something, it doesn't ring true, then I'm like, I'm out. But luckily, there's some things that ring true, like the idea that somehow this is created by something, this experience, and I don't know what it is. I don't know how it was created or what it is. That rings true to me. And it also gives me hope that there's something I don't know about that's beyond this. Like I prefer that to like everything is the way it is and we're just going to die. Nothing's makes sense. It's all pointless. That that's not that doesn't make me feel good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's interesting. I think people, I think you kind of are getting to a heart of an issue that every person, I think that's how everyone decides how to live their life, how they face that fear. Am I afraid of what's going to happen with my life after? Right. Like, I think how everyone takes that question in. Some people don't care. Like for me, for instance, I don't care if there's no point to anything. That doesn't matter. I don't know why. It just doesn't matter to me. I could care less if there's no, I'll make the point. I'll make the purpose myself in life. Does that make sense? Like I'll make it for myself and I'll decide what it is. But someone else, right, might say, no, I need this purpose. Someone else was, I need this creator. Someone else, this fear of death is going to lead them to lead their life a different way. Someone who has no fear of death will lead their life a different way. I find that very fascinating, that fear, like you said, sort of directs our
Well,
life.
it was pounded into me because I was brought up Catholic. I went to Catholic school when I was a kid, and you're told that God's love is conditional. So as long as you do A, B, and C, you're good. You go to heaven.
Yeah.
But if you don't do A, B, and C, and trust me, nobody does A, B, and C.
Yeah.
Some people do A and B and not C. Some people do A and C.
Correct.
Some people don't do any of the ABCs. Some people do ABC most of the time and then occasionally don't do B.
And then a lot of D, some people.
Put the D
in
the P or the A. But if you put the D in the A, you're going to H. So That, that's the pro. So that's in my hard wiring. That's like when I think of the world, I think there's an afterlife, there's a God that's judging me.
Yeah.
And a lot of people who grew up religiously have that fear of this judgment that's coming to them. Now, were you brought up religious?
I same as you. My mom's from Mexico, so Catholic. So, but we didn't grow up like super kind of Mexican Catholic. So it's a whole different thing. It's like
Talk to me about Mexican Catholic.
it's like
Yeah, I like the sound of it. It sounds like
I,
Mexican cola.
it's awesome because it's
It
like
sounds
yeah,
better than
it's
regular
sweet.
Coke.
It's real sugar, cane
Comes in a
sugar.
bottle
Yeah, it comes in a
and
bottle.
a
It's basically
plastic.
like you believe it all, but you don't really. I don't know. Like my mom, holy water, me da el bendición every day, right? Every time she sees me, goes to mass,
Oh, nice.
prays to Mary and all these things, right? But
Uh-huh.
not real particular about the Bible and all these rules and all these things. It's all just about a connection with God on a daily kind
I
of
like
thing,
it.
and
Yeah,
just
yeah.
that's very Mexican Catholic. So it's not too restrictive, and your life, right? You can drink, you can smoke, you can have sex and this and party and all these things, and no one's really kind of on you about it too
Is there
much.
hell?
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. It's the same. I mean, it's Catholic, same Catholic
Who goes who goes to,
Catholicism.
who goes to hell?
That's a great question. People who don't accept Jesus, right? I don't know if that's the Catholic part, like the Catholic. How do you get into heaven as a Catholic?
You have to
I don't.
ask for
I don't.
God's have to ask for God's forgiveness and then have your sins removed and then you can go to heaven.
That's what it is, right? Yeah, you got to do the. Yeah, okay, yeah. Because I became a Baptist at 18. I got baptized, and I on my own went to a church and just on my own became a Baptist. I don't know
I
why.
did the same thing when I was about 13. I started exploring other religions.
Yeah,
I was like, let me
exactly.
try another one.
That's
So I
what.
went to
Yeah,
the Baptist church and they're like, if you accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior, you are going to heaven.
that's
And
what
I'm
they
like,
told
even
me.
if I walk out of here and never go to church again, they're like, absolutely. I'm like,
Yeah, I
give
was
me
like,
that
sign me up.
insurance.
That's what I
Yeah,
said. I was like,
immediately. I was like, I accept him. You and me, dude, we're going to heaven. It doesn't matter what the fuck we do or say.
yeah. As soon as they
We
put
could
me in
go
that
on a
water,
we could go on a killing rampage. We're still going to heaven. That's what I love about that whole Baptist thing. It's so great.
it is. That's eventually what got me out of it. Was all these inconsistencies
Oh yeah.
in the mantra, right?
Oh,
Eventually,
yeah.
really what got me out was as I started to, because dude, I was a Sunday school teacher. I sang worship. I was involved. Like when I get
Yeah.
involved in stuff, I go
Yeah.
in. Like I
You
was like,
go.
if we're gonna believe this, then I'm
Yeah.
believing it. Okay,
You,
let's go.
yeah.
But then I just started to note, I was like, man, I'm not feeling. I see people with their hands up and all that. And I was like, dude, I'm trying, but I'm not feeling anything. I'm just real
Yeah.
honest with myself.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, this ain't right, man. I'm in the same position as you. You're lying. I just immediately started pointing people in my head thinking, dude, you're making this shit up. Now I'm pissed, wasted my time here. I'm going to go look at other religions. So I remember speaking with Jehovah's Witnesses a lot, Mormons, uh
Yeah.
Muslim. I would have these great conversations with these Muslims about Islam. Tried to read part of the Quran. That was hard.
Did
And
you do
yeah, and then
any did you
until I
dip your
just
foot
left.
in that old Hindu pool?
No, not very much. I have
Yeah,
now in later life because I worked with a lot of people from India
yeah.
in restaurants. So sort of later on, and in Spain too, when I lived in Spain, that's a very popular sort of bohemian underground thing for young Spanish kids to get into.
The Hindu. I like the
Yeah.
Hindu because they do not try to get anybody involved. They're like,
Yeah, exactly,
you're either
man.
in or you're
Like Buddhist.
we're not interested in coming to your door and telling you about
Yeah.
Hinduism. But
Bro, that's a great point. They
but
don't, they're not coming into
I do like some of the Hindu ideas, like the idea that God just existed and was bored and divided itself into the universe and is experiencing itself through all of this, but we're all
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
like part of God. Like,
Yeah. That actually seems kind of likely in some
yeah,
odd
it
way, right?
seems I like the idea. I mean, it's a great. The other thing too about a lot of it is that like some of it just holds water, where some of it just seems like, oh no, they're just trying to get you to do something. They're like just trying to make sure that you pay your taxes or you give money to the church or you obey the law of the land, whatever that is. Like for a long time, there was no way to keep an eye on people. So you had to kind of create
Exactly.
sort of
Yeah.
like this invisible thing that
Correct.
would like
Yeah.
regulate everything for you because you're in a castle
Correct.
or a basilica, 100 miles away. And so you got to make sure these guys over here are doing what you want them to do. So,
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, out
yeah,
of fear. God is a mixture of God of gaps, right? Us not being able to explain. I mean, people thought the sun was a god, right? The moon, the sky. Imagine finding out, like being part of that time where you find out the atmosphere and what's out there was space. And you're like, oh shit, there's more. There's not a god out there. Oh my God. That's got to be a reality shifting change. What's our next reality shifting change?
dude, how about you're just walking around or you're outside and all of a sudden you're like, you look up and you go, oh, that's endless space, boy.
I'm saying
Like that
it's
doesn't happen,
crazy.
dude. That doesn't happen very often because I'm afraid of heights. I'm afraid of heights, dude.
Yeah, me too.
So when I realize, oh, I'm upside down
Yeah, dude.
on a rock and that's endless space, I'm like,
It's fucking
where's my
scary.
solitaire?
Yeah.
Where's my Plants versus Zombies? Where's my Hard Knocks? Where's my NFL game? Because I can't be thinking about endless space
Yeah.
around me or above me or below me.
Trust me. I think that's a
Jesus,
rabbit
dude,
hole we
that's
all go
so
down.
that's so crazy. I mean, I kind of
Right. You start to just think like, what's the whole point of all this? Why is it so big? Why is there so much? Why haven't we seen other people? Like, what am I doing here? What is the point of
yeah,
matter? What's the
yeah.
point of planets and atmospheres? Like, what is it? Why?
It's
What is it?
so amazing. Like whoever is responsible for it, it's so grand. The idea of it
And
is
where's the beginning
so
and
grand.
end, Bob? Right? Like, how does that work? Beginning
Well,
and end. What
I
if
will
there's a
tell you, I
beginning?
will
What becomes before that? And if there's an end, there has to be something past that. And how can it just go forever on every? I don't, dude. My mind is hurting right now. Just
well, I will tell you what I believe.
yes, I want to hear it.
So, and I've come to this conclusion because of a couple things. First of all, there's only now.
I
There's no,
agree.
so let's explore that. And we may have even talked about this before. Is the future is the future does that exist right now? It doesn't, right? Does the past does that exist right now? The
No.
past.
Mm-mm.
There's only this moment, right? And that's the way it's always been forever. So we as human beings, because things are changing and we've decided, well, how can that be if there's only now? How can things be changing in the now? And then we created this idea of time.
Yep.
That's just something to explain the universe that we live in. But it doesn't. But it doesn't address what's actually happening, which is there's a now that's changing. Because we want to believe that everything's solid, like this is a solid thing. And so, how can this solid thing be in all these different places? It can't. The only thing that would explain this thing being in different places is that it doesn't exist. It's just an idea. Sort of like the things in your TV. Like when you look at your TV, there's no people in there, there's no stadium in there. It's just lights that make you think that there's a stadium and that your team is losing to the team that you hate. So that's what I think that's what life is. Life is an idea that we're having, sort of like when you're dreaming. So when you're dreaming and you're laying in your bed, you think all this stuff's going on. You think you're going to jail, and you're like, "How am I fucking go? What? Why did I do that? I don't want to. I'm not built for jail. I can't go to jail. I'm not the kind of person that would do well in a federal penitentiary. I have to kill myself." And then you wake up and you're like, "Oh, God damn it. Thank God I'm not going to fucking jail." I'm so glad. That was so dumb.
That was so close. I thought
I was gonna be in there in a minute and it was gonna be horrible. I was like thinking of all the ways I was gonna how am I gonna survive? I have to kill myself. There's only one thing.
Boy, Bob, you and I are different. My thing was I'm gotta kill the first big guy I see to set the fucking standard when I get there. That's what I'm thinking.
I'm just killing myself
Fuck
immediately.
that. I'm going out with a fucking
Dude,
baby. I'm trying something.
Dude, I'm 100% flight, dude. There's flight. I'm 100% flight. There's no fight in me at all, dude. I am wrong. You're right. Oh, you want to believe in some dumb shit? You're right. I'm leaving. And you're right. You stay. And
You stay.
I'm gone.
I'm out.
I'm outie.
I'm outie.
So anyways, so yeah, I think because the evidence points to that nothing is the way we think it is. It's an illusion. We're having a perception. We have an idea that this exists. And similar to like, once they came up with CGI, did anybody keep making models when they were going to do a spaceship in space for a movie? No, because that shit looked dumb. But CGI makes it look real. And so they just use CGI. And it's easy and it looks better. Same with life. Like, what are you going to create a universe? Where are you going to put it? Right. Inside another universe? Like, you have to have a space the size of the universe to put the universe in. Or you can just create the idea of the universe.
Right.
Guess where you can put that? Wherever you want it.
Everywhere. Yeah.
Anywhere, in your butthole.
You can have infinite universes in your butthole. You can. There's quite a universe in my butthole. I'll tell you that.
What does that mean?
I don't even know what that means.
Jesus Christ!
Sure. I'm Dude, sure.
I'm all ears again.
The black hole. Yeah, I don't know.
It's like a little red dwarf. Yeah. So, anyways, but again, I'm not trying to preach my idea of what is, but I like the mystery.
No, I like talking about everybody's
of not
nobody has an answer, so everyone's got a theory, right? Like, it's interesting to hear even if we honestly, does it even matter? This is the question I ask.
It really doesn't.
It's like in the Matrix, right? When he's eating the steak, he's like, does it even matter?
Doesn't even matter.
If you think it's real, if we're in a simulation right now, I don't give a fuck. I'm having a great time. Love my dogs, going for a walk later. I mean, I don't give a fuck. In fact, don't tell me. Dude, don't fuck it. Don't ruin it. Let me just.
Well, that's the thing.
It's kind of like taking off your VR goggle. Like, oh shit.
Yeah. Well, that's right. Well, that's the thing about life. It's like, I always think about like, can you imagine if there is a God and he's just like looking down on the earth at us doing our thing and like guessing at what God is? And I think it would be endlessly amusing because it would get it so wrong.
Absolutely. 100%.
And you're right. It doesn't matter because no matter what you believe or don't believe, we're still stuck here. Like it's still a mystery. You're going to feel whatever you're going to feel. The thing that's amazing about life, it doesn't matter like what your circumstances are either. You could be the richest person on earth. You could be the poorest person on earth. You're still going to have this amazing experience. You're going to have an amazing experience when you're old, when you're young. Everybody thinks like, oh, you can only have a good time if you're young and virile or whatever. But it's like, dude, the idea of like getting older and watching everybody that you know die and then you losing everything that you value, your strength, your health, your relationships.
Well, that sounds depressing when you say it like
dude,
that.
But it's like, what an incredible experience. Like,
it's a journey, right? Yeah.
You can't have that experience when you're young. You can have other experiences when you're young. but only people who get old have these.
I think your mind prepares you for it.
Oh, you just deal with whatever it is. I mean, you lose a leg. What are you gonna, you just deal with
Move on.
having one
Yeah.
leg.
Yeah. It's like you see a dog that has, two missing legs on the back. That
Yeah,
dog will walk like it has four. It's running around. It's playing. It doesn't know. It doesn't care. It
right.
doesn't care. And I think that is the best way to live life.
Yeah,
Is,
but
you know.
yeah, but the thing is, I mean, we're not dogs.
Well, I mean,
We
don't care if
we
your legs work. That's what I'm saying. Uh,
yeah.
Something like that.
Well,
Move on.
I
Worry
mean,
about today, like you said.
ignorance is bliss, they say.
Yeah, I agree. In some ways, that's true, but we can't live like that as humanity at the same time, right? Because we have real problems. There's people that don't even have the luxury to have these conversations. They live in situations where they're fighting for food, survival, right? Roof over their head. Maybe they're being human trafficked, right? Abused, all
Dude,
these
could you
things.
imagine if
So,
today, like, this is not us, but if you and me were like later on today, we're like, well, what are we going to eat today? I don't know. We have to fight for our food.
bro,
We got to go out and fight for food.
crazy.
Guess what? I'm not worried about if I'm fighting for food. Any of the shit that I'm worried about right now.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Dude, I'm not worried about. I'm worried like that my son, like my son, my plants aren't getting enough, like they're getting too much sunlight because of where I've placed them outdoors. Guess what? I'm not worried about if I'm fighting for food.
That.
I'm not worried about my plants.
Plant. Yeah.
I'm not worried about that bunny.
Chlorophyll.
I'm not worried about that bunny.
Yeah, I'm eating the bunny. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're eating that bunny and those plants. Have a nice little salad, bunny salad. Yeah.
Hey, guess what? I didn't have to fight for food today. Why is that? Because I ate my bunny. I fucking made a plant salad that made me super sick because you're not supposed to eat these fucking plants, but I didn't give a fuck because I was hungry as shit, boy. Fighting for food, dude.
That's how animals live in the wild, right? Their whole existence is based around getting food, shelter, and procreating. I don't know. Like,
dude, can you imagine living in the fucking wild, dude?
No.
Like just being an animal in the wild?
No. Mm-mm.
But we are. That's what
yes,
we are, dude. We are animals, and this is the wild.
Right.
We
Yeah,
are
you're
animals.
right. My mind just blown because
And
you're
we're
kind of
not
right.
pretending. We got our headphones on. We're talking into a mic. We're pretending we're not fucking animals, but we're fucking animals, dude.
You're right, man. This hair is evolutionary right here for a reason. My whole face
To
used to be
lap up that
covered.
blood.
Yeah, so
that we can
blood
suck
from my
on
victims that I just murdered.
Yeah, that we can
gnawing on their leg.
Yeah, so later on when we run out of stuff, we can just kind of.
Maybe that's why I think about murder so much. No, I'm just kidding. I don't. That was a joke. That's a joke. I'm kidding. I do not.
No, but no. Here, I will tell
maybe
you.
that's where murders come from. Maybe it is that.
I'm gonna disagree with you when you say you don't think about murdering all the time. I think you do think about murdering all the time because I do. And here's the thing, because here's what men are. All we want to do is dominate other men and procreate with women. That's the main drive, because if we dominate all the men around us and we procreate with all the women around us, then we survive.
Yeah, we survive.
Then my genes survive. And that's because I'm a virus and I want to survive.
Yeah.
And the way I do that, the way I used to do it back in the days was I would band together with some other dudes and we would have an agreement like, I'm going to be the alpha male. You guys are going to be my bitches. I'm going to have all these ladies. Now, if one of you guys want to come to me and be the alpha male, you're welcome to it. And then these other guys would be like, nah, dude, you're the alpha male.
What kind of conversations
or a young guy would come up and go, you know what? You ain't the alpha male. I am. And then we go at it. Or I say, you know what? I think you are the alpha male. I'm going to step back.
Yeah.
And now you can have all these ladies and I'm going to be the beta and you be the alpha. But then what we're going to do is we're going to make sure we have enough territory here because we need food and we need shelter. And if anybody comes into this area, we're going to kill them. We're going to, because we don't need any more dudes. So we're going to kill them. And then if they have any women, we'll take those women because we need women. And that's the way we did it. We dominated or we murdered. Now we don't have that. We have societies. We can't do that. We've agreed murder's off the table,
I guess.
But what we do as men is we murder people. We murder other men with insults. We try to kill their character. We're like, oh yeah, I saw that. It wasn't that good. Oh, that thing that dude did, that wasn't that good. That thing I do, better. Like, if even now you're looking at me, you're going, yeah, this dude's fucking alpha as fuck. But you're also going, I'm younger than him, so I'm thinner. I'm thinner than this guy. I'm more woke, or I don't know whatever it is. Whatever, I don't know what you're saying. But you're thinking of things that you're better at than I am.
No, I'm not.
Yes,
really
you are.
not.
Yes, you are. I know you are. I know you are. I know you're pretending that you don't, but you are like doing little things like that. And you're like, and then
I don't think so. But
and
maybe.
then later on, you'll be like, somebody be like, oh yeah, I love that. You'll be with some lady. I love Bob Schneider. Like, yeah, I talked to him. He's got some problems. Like whatever it is. But you're gonna, you know what I mean?
No.
Yes.
That's
yes.
not true.
Yes, it's true.
No, I would say the complete opposite of that.
Well, again,
I'm a nice guy, Bob. I don't.
No, it's not. It's not about being nice. It's about that's just who we are as men. That's the way we're programmed as men. We have to find ways.
I think I'm an odd man then, because I truly don't have those kind of like, I'm weird. I don't ever get into alpha versus alpha with men. Maybe I did when I was younger, and I rejected.
No, you said
that.
it. You said it earlier. You said you're all fight. You like, if you're going to prison, like, who do I kill?
Yeah, well, that's because I'm like, I don't want to die. I don't want to get raped. So I think I need to.
Don't tell me. Don't tell me that you're not that. You are a nice guy. I think it's very important for you to be liked, to have people like you.
Yeah, I like that.
But I see that in there, and maybe it's something you don't really want to look at or look at very often, but
that's true.
But it's there. It's there, dude. Trust me.
I mean, I have all kinds of thoughts. Don't get me wrong. My brain is
I mean, there's other podcasts. You're looking at other podcasts and you're like, this podcast is weak. My shit's way better than this. Oh, I edit so much better than this. This editing on this podcast sucks. And it's that kind of thing. It's just you with your sword, just weakening your opponents so that you can be the number one stunner.
Yeah, I mean, to some extent, maybe you
do it with kindness too. Maybe you do it with
but I do have moments like that where I look at creator. No, that's my shit's better, or this, that, or that. For sure, I definitely do. I mean, to survive in this space, you have to believe in yourself. You got to have a little confidence, a little bit of an ego, a little bit of like believing in yourself. You know what I mean? Thinking you're a little bit better. Not a little bit better.
You have to think that you're the best at this.
That's true. And some you're kind
of you don't say that to anybody. You don't go around saying I'm the best. But inside you're like, oh, I'm as good as anybody doing this. That's like for me to continue to write songs and perform,
I do think
I have to think I'm the very best at this.
Yeah, I get it. It's what keeps you going, right?
Yeah, it's the only thing that keeps you going.
I agree, man. No.
Again, you don't say that, and then when people ask you, like, I'm just but a humble servant of the Lord, sir. And then people are like, oh, he's just but a humble servant. And they fucking buy your bullshit.
More. Can we get some porridge, please? Just a little bit.
Dude, can we talk about some of those people that you talk about some of those interviews that I saw? That guy.
Which guy?
The guy who you're talking to from Ancient Aliens. He was in a couple. Nick Pope. So he was in a couple places. So one place, in the background, there was a teddy bear, but then next to the teddy bear, there were like 3 human skulls, and then above that, there was a whole row of skulls.
I can explain that.
Okay, tell me. Because
His wife is an anthropologist.
okay, and did they have children? They must have small
Mm,
children or had small children at some point.
I actually don't know, to be honest with you. I
Because if you
don't know.
look in the background, he had one of those automatic door closers. So that means he either had a small child or he had a
Ah,
cat.
okay.
Because the only reason you
Cats.
put those on your
To
door,
not lock a cat in a room or something.
no, you just want the door, like you can't leave the door. Like now that I've got a cat, I can't leave the door open, otherwise the cat will escape. So you need something that will close the door. Also, if you have
Okay.
small children, like
Okay.
when my son was young, I have a pool, and so I installed one of those on my back door where the pool was, so that that door would just always close.
Oh, that would worry me. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. His wife's an anthropologist. I know that. And that's why he has those skulls. You're not the first person to mention that. It's in the comments, I think, too. And even on Reddit, I think some people said it. Yeah, but that's why. His wife. So he's into it too, like I guess on the side. Probably how he met her.
I mean, skulls are cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I like Nick Pope a lot, actually.
He seemed very
For a guy that I just didn't think he thought the things he thought when I
no,
interviewed him.
he seems like a very reasonable person.
Correct.
Like
He was at the end of the day, he's like, I don't know.
yeah. And he seemed very
Well, I
honest.
respect that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
he seemed
respect
very
that.
honest. Like again, here's a guy who
I mean, he's on Ancient Aliens, right? It's like
yeah,
hosting Ancient. It's like this guy could easily just be like,
right.
right,
But
all over this
that's
too.
the other thing too. Here's a guy who knows as much as you can know about aliens, and he's like, I don't know, because there's
Exactly.
again at the end of the
There's
day,
no evidence.
at the end of the day, there's no spacecraft. At the end of the
Correct.
day, there's no body. There's just people
Correct.
talking about it.
Correct.
Same as like Jesus. Like Jesus hasn't come down, and your camera just went out, folks.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, he hasn't come down and said, "Hey, I'm floating in the air and I'm Jesus." So, or any of the other deities from the other religions. So, you know,
Yeah.
so you got to kind of, I don't know. I love it. I love all of it. I love hearing about it.
What are some exciting theories?
Dude, I love
you've heard?
magic tricks. Even though I don't believe in magic, I love magic tricks.
What are some exciting like alien theories you've heard of what they could be, like extraterrestrial, dimensional, right? Like time travel. I don't know. There's some like fun
Dude, all this
ultra terrestrials. How crazy is that?
I mean, it sounds cool, dude. And then those
Right.
AI drawings of the underwater civilizations.
Yeah.
I loved it, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. That would, I mean, how crazy would that be if we're like, they've been here the whole time, like, holy shit. I mean, that would be mind blowing. Honestly, that would be far more mind blowing than they're coming from, another planet. Right? They've been in our oceans and bases this whole time. We thought we were the head, top of the food chain. Turns out we're not.
The idea that the planet was seeded, that we're aliens ourselves, that we were seeded.
Yeah, panspermia.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, that seems very likely. Just saying.
Again,
seems very likely.
I'm coming from a place where this is all a dream, so
right,
at the end of the day, none of it matters really.
The guy that someone listening or watching can fact check me, but the guy that sequenced the DNA for the first time in the 50s, he stated that DNA could have not like happened on its own on Earth because of the time it takes. He's like, there's no way that DNA was created on Earth. That's a theory that's out there in science, like that it had to have come from somewhere else because of the time it takes to develop. It hasn't had that time on Earth. So how did it do it? That's pretty fascinating to hear that.
Well,
gives, it's like, well, maybe we did come. Mars was thriving and we came and we had to start all over. I don't know. I mean, that seems kind of crazy too. Why would we start all over as hairy monkeys? That doesn't make any sense.
I mean, evolution's tough. It's all kind of hard to wrap our heads around any sort of.
Yeah.
I mean, we like max, we're 100 years. We're on the planet as human beings, just maybe a little bit longer or a lot less usually. But so to think about anything that takes thousands of years, or I mean, there's no way to even think about hundreds of thousands of years, let alone millions of years. Like it's just so like, it's easy to discount things like evolution, where you're like, well, if there was evolution, then there'd be like humans and then 1,000 variations between humans and apes. It's like, no, there wouldn't, because all those thousands of variations died out over the course of thousands of years. Same with all the other species. Like, well, there'd be like little tiny, there'd be a million versions of a chicken. I'm like, no, those million versions of chickens died over hundreds of thousands of years. It's like, it's just hard to understand that much time, you know.
Oh yeah,
It
absolutely.
just all of it is
Of course.
is
Should
mind
we
blowing.
even spend the little bit of time we have to live a life to worry about half of this stuff? You know what I mean?
Well,
It's
what
kind
are
of
you gonna
odd.
do? Have feelings? Fuck that,
Yeah.
dude. I'm gonna do whatever it takes to not think about my eventual death and the death of everyone that I know and
Yeah.
my progeny and all their progeny.
Yeah.
So human beings are going to spend as much of their time as they can dissociating from the fact that we're alive and we're all going to die. So yeah, if you want to study whatever you want to study, go for it. Do whatever you got to do to get through. But ultimately, I think the only thing that provides any sort of relief or lasting comfort in this world is figuring out a way to love as much as you can. That includes the people that you absolutely dislike and disagree with. And love them not because of what they're doing or not doing, but just love them because you have that opportunity as a human being to, and you can just say it. You can just find someone in your life that you despise, somebody who absolutely is a horrible person, and just go, I love you, and just say it in your mind. Even and again, not because they're a horrible person or they're doing horrible things, but just because you have that opportunity to do it. And then of course it's easy to do it with people that you actually like. But
Oh yeah.
if you can increase that, the more you can increase that in your life, the more serene, the more wonderful life will be for you. And that's what truly matters. So like this whole like trying to figure out who's wrong and then yelling at them because somehow that's going to make you feel safer. It's not going to hurt anybody except for yourself. You're
Yeah.
only hurting yourself with your
No question.
anger.
No question.
So,
Absolutely. And that's happened to me.
anyways,
I've been down that hole before, for sure. It happens. You know, life can be frustrating sometimes, so it's all good. You got to move on
yeah, I
from
mean,
that
don't
shit.
get, I'm just saying this.
Yeah.
These are just things I'm saying. Dude, I don't practice any of this shit hardly
Oh,
ever.
well, I mean, of course, it's much easier to say things
Dude,
than to do them. We can't be
yeah.
perfect.
Well, the thing that somebody said this, and it rings true. The thing that you teach is the thing you most need to learn. So every time I see one of these motherfuckers, these talking heads, and they're like, blah blah blah, this is what you need to do. They're just telling themselves that, and I
Yeah.
get, okay, this is a
Projection.
lesson that person needs to learn, and I hope they learn it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point. Absolutely. Of course. Of course.
Ultimately, probably doesn't matter.
I mean, yeah.
Here's what matters: you have your
Yeah.
friend, your dog. What's your dog's name?
I have two dogs. This is Rocket, and then my
You
other
got
dog is Mac.
you got Rocket and Mac, dude. Life's good,
Life's amazing.
right?
Yeah.
How great are dog, dude? How wonderful it is when you come home and those dogs are so happy that you're there.
Dude, you have no idea. It's the best.
It's the best.
The best. I was thinking about last night when I was my little dog Rocket here. He curls up with me, so he's like follows me everywhere. Mac is he kind of does his own thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think about that all the time, man. Rocket with me, just that little comfort. He's just always there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just look down. He's always there. He's always happy, and that's an odd thing. They are 100% consistent with that, like direction in life, with that directive in their head. And
Yeah.
they are it never fails. It's literally perfection. Like, I love this person for, like, that's kind of insane because there aren't many perfect things in life, you know? I don't know if there's any other, but that dog's love is literally perfect. They never fail it. They
Yeah.
never one day are in a bad mood and like, fuck you. That doesn't happen. They're always
No,
happy to see you. And that's amazing to me how they can be so consistently, it's just so consistent like that. It blows my mind.
it really is.
I try to look at him and go, man, I need to be calm. Like, how do you guys? And then my dog will bark to hell to like kill a squirrel.
Right.
So, I mean, he can lose his shit too. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know where it's going with that. Anyway, yes, dogs are amazing. I love these dogs. Rocket, we're talking about you, buddy. Rocket,
Yeah.
¿qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó, mi niño? Rocket's from Spain. I brought Rocket back with me from Spain.
So he speaks Spanish.
Yeah, he's fluent. Yeah, he speaks Spanish. Yeah. I actually only talk to my dogs in Spanish.
These friends of mine just went to Mexico for 6 months and they came back with a dog, Blanco. And
Blanco.
that dog doesn't speak any English. I'm like, hey, Blanco, come over here, you fucking. And the dog's like, I don't know what you're saying.
Same thing with these dogs. You have to speak to them in Spanish. Although they do understand sit
Oh, they
in
do.
English. In English.
What's sit in Spanish?
Siéntate.
Close.
Yeah, it's very
Starts with a
very close.
C.
Yeah, set. Yeah, exactly.
That's probably all they
sit.
hear is that first C.
Well, I use sit because it was just one syllable, so that was
Yeah.
easier to teach them than siéntate. But all the other, I mean, literally everything else is in Spanish. They know quite a few commands. He, Rocket, what's up, buddy? Okay, ya está. Baja, anda, a tu sitio.
What's Baja?
It means down.
Oh, okay.
Baja, California. That's why it's called Baja.
Oh, because it's the down part.
Down.
Nice. Dude. I've learned something.
All right. Yeah, one thing. If you learn one thing,
I learned what the word. I learned what the fucking word Baja means. I also learned that if you go to jail, you're fucking murdering a dude right off the bat.
Yes.
Don't
I'm
arrest it.
Listen,
don't
I'm
put
talking.
This guy in jail.
If you arrest me for a parking ticket, that's what's happening.
If you get your third DWI and you got to spend a month in county, you're murdering a guy right off the bat. Like, don't put you in jail. Just tell the judge, look, don't put me in jail. I'm gonna kill
murder. I will murder some people.
I gotta stay alive when I'm in jail. Oh my god.
Hey, listen, that's just first instinct. Just all the stories I've heard, right? You're just like, oh shit, I better. That's what they say. You get to jail, the first thing you do is you pick the biggest guy and you fight him, and everyone will respect you, even if you lose.
Right.
You know, I don't know. So I've always just had that in my mind, like I'm going to do that. I'm literally, I don't fight at all, but I haven't been in a fist fight since I don't know how long.
So how do you think you would do if the grid goes down in an apocalypse? Like, are you a survivor?
That's an interesting question. I can cook and I have backpacked a lot, right? I've lived out of a backpack for a long time. So yeah, I'd be fine.
Yeah. Here's what I'm doing in an apocalyptic situation or jail.
I picture the end of The Mist. I don't know why.
They're very similar. Go to a drugstore. I figure out a way to get a bunch of fentanyl patches.
Oh man.
I get myself a nice bottle of champagne, some cigarettes. I have the champagne, smoke a few cigarettes, and then I get fented up, I call it. Just start putting the fentanyl patches all over my body and my family, if my family's there. And then we go night-night. Yep. And that's it. That's it.
Somehow I imagined that already. Yeah. Somehow I just knew.
No, I'm not resorting to cannibalism. I'm not like fighting off guys with my last.
Would you break your sobriety if the apocalypse hit?
Dude, if I go to the doctor and he's like, oh, you got stage 4 cancer, you've got like less than 6 months to live, my first stop is Specs, dude. Dude, I'm not fucking around. First stop specs for cigarettes and alcohol. Second is like I'm just calling any old drug addicts that I know. I'm like, where do I get the fent,
The
the
fat.
crack, the whatever? And I'm going all in. I'm not going to be. You're not going to see a sober guy after that. Hell no. I'm having fun, dude. I'm only sober because I'm.
Doctor calls you back. Sorry, Bob, we switched up your records. It was actually
Oh,
not you. You're like
no, it suck.
smoking crack with two hookers. Like,
I'm
God
like,
damn it, doc.
I got an AIDS needle sticking out of my dick. I'm like, oh, I fucked up, man. I'm like, yeah, got some guy, some full blown AIDS.
I think I fucked up, guys. I think I fucked up. Oh, man.
Well, dude,
Oh,
I mean, that one guy, is it who's the golf commentator? I can't think of his name because I don't watch golf, but Nick Faldo or something. His son died, like his adult son.
oh gosh.
And he's like 60 and he'd been sober for years and years. And then he started drinking. That was the other thing. If something happened to my kids, I don't think I'd probably start drinking and then maybe probably kill myself. I can't imagine staying around. If something happened to both my kids, I don't think I'm hanging out for very long after that. If something happened to one of them, it'd be really tough, but I'd probably stick around for the other one. I don't know. Those are dark things to think
Wow.
about.
No, but I get it. If your parent, that would be, I don't know. I get it. I don't know how you would. Yeah, I get it. I have an aunt, my cousin committed suicide when he was 22. I was 14 at the time, and he jumped off a building in Mexico City. The high rise. They lived in a high rise. And jumped off.
Do you ever have?
And it's crazy. My they were never the same. My aunt
Yeah,
and my uncle were never the same. Dude.
No, you're broken in a way that can't be fixed. Do you
my
ever?
aunt especially.
You ever had any suicidal thoughts or anything like that?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like
not recently, but
when you
a
say, "Oh
long
yeah,"
time ago.
what do you mean? Like I'm gonna kill myself, or I'm thinking about killing myself, or you were like really depressed? What was the deal?
Yeah, kind of like I just didn't think there was any point to my life. I didn't think I mattered on this earth, and I thought, what's the point? Well, just leave.
And
There's no
when you say
God. There's
leave,
no nothing.
how would you do it?
I had a knife at the time. I remember thinking, well, I'll just cut myself.
Yeah.
And I was on drugs. This was in my 20s, a
Yeah.
long time ago.
It's weird because I've had those thoughts, fucked up, same kind of thoughts, and a knife was always you know why I think? Because I don't think I really wanted to kill myself. So a knife is like a nice little, like I can make the gesture.
Correct. I can seem tough here in the kitchen by myself.
Yeah, and I can hold the knife and I can
like
brandish it around a little bit.
Yeah.
But you didn't do it. I didn't do it.
Fuck no. I'm too much of a narcissist to kill myself. Are you kidding me? I can't kill myself. I love myself. I can't. Yeah. I love myself at the end of the day. I can always get over the problems and the issues because I think to myself. It's the same reason I don't really. It's not that I don't care what people think, but I kind of don't care what people think. In the sense that I wear what I want, I say what I want, I live my life the way I want. I don't have kids. I'm in my 40s, right? I don't care. I do what I want. I've lived all over the world. I don't care about being famous. I don't care about anything but pleasing this guy at the end of the day in a nice way, right? In a humane way. I'm not talking an asshole, but
no, I think one of the things I find to be interesting is that people have this thing where they're like we were just saying, I just do whatever I want to do. And people have this idea that they're doing whatever they want to do, but they're not. Like we are born with information like birds are. Birds are born with this information where they fucking fly all the way across the earth, fucking lay their eggs in one place and then fly all the way across the earth. They don't go to school to learn that shit. There's not like a bird school with a book and they're like, okay, when you're this age, you're going to fucking do this. Salmon do the same fucking thing. Bears hibernate. Like they have all this information and we have all this information as human beings that's just born into us. And one of the things is to survive at all costs.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
like, even if you get depressed and you're like, oh, nothing matters, there's some overriding hardwiring that just won't let you kill yourself. Sometimes that gets broken in people and they do kill themselves, but most people just and then, you know, you think you want to have sex because, like, oh, that person's really attractive, so I want to have sex with them. But that's not what's going on. Your brain's like, procreate, put sperm in that person to have a baby.
Yeah.
And even if you're masturbating, it's just your brain wanting to like get sperm into something to survive. It's survive, survive, survive.
Sure.
And and then everybody, and even
That's
like
another reason why I think there's life out in the universe. Life is like made to, right, at all costs survive.
yes, it's just like you have to keep going
Yeah.
somehow.
Yeah.
There's a great documentary. Have you ever seen the documentary Fast, Cheap, and Out of Control?
Man, that sounds so familiar, but I can't say that I have.
It's a documentary about like 4 or 5 different people. One of them is a guy who does topiary sculptures, like where you take
Mm.
bushes and trees and turn them into
Oh,
animals and stuff.
yeah, yeah, okay.
And then the last guy makes robots. And then the idea that after you watch the documentary, the idea that you kind of come away with, I think that they want you to come away with, is that we're like these robots that somebody created, and that whoever created these us is gone. And just like this, the idea is like we were created, and then whatever created us is long since gone, and now we're just these robots that are meant to
That's interesting.
procreate and recreate and survive at all costs. And then now we're like looking for meaning in the world, like, oh, where's God? But God's long dead, that thing that made us. It's interesting. It's not necessarily a movie where you're like walk away going, there's not a lot of like feel good vibe to it. It's just an interesting idea.
That is interesting. I don't know if I've ever heard that sort of idea that the creator has died off. That's a god has died off,
Yeah.
essential. That's interesting.
It'd be like, basically like a mad scientist who creates these like automatrons, and then he dies because he's human, and then
Yeah,
automatrons live forever. And
or
then
live forever.
who created you? And it's like, well, there was a guy that created us, but he went on a trip, but he's going to come back soon. That's the way automatrons talk.
You know, it got me thinking like we think of ourselves as individuals, right? I
Right.
mean, we are individuals, but what if we're not? Like, what if humanity, we are this one entity, right? And we do kind of live forever in the sense, right? Humanity's been alive for a long time. So that's kind of interesting.
Right. Like a
Um,
grove of aspen, like a
yeah,
aspen grove. You know what
yeah,
that's, right?
yeah, yeah.
Like there's a giant root structure
Correct.
underneath,
Correct.
and the whole thing can burn down, but
That'll still keep going.
yeah, and that's been around for hundreds of thousands of years.
Correct. So maybe that's like,
Humans.
that's just humans. Like we are all connected in a lot of ways. I mean, there's a reason we want to be around each other, I think. Even though at the same time we fight amongst each other, we still have this desire to be around each other, you
Right.
know? And there's got to be something to that. I mean, we started looking for meaning in life and we gave, meaning. What did that mean? That even that word, like where around the fire, fire pit did we start to like, why am I doing this? Right. The first why in humanity. Like, I know I need to do this, but why? Why do I need to go kill that lion, Dad? That's interesting to me. I
Shut
find
up.
that fascinating.
Shut up
Yeah,
and eat
shut
your
up.
lion.
Yeah, shut up and eat your lion. But
I don't
why,
like
Dad? Yeah,
I don't like lion. I like cactus, Dad.
yeah,
I just want to
like
eat the cactus. Eat your lion, you little fucking
I want
wimp.
that lion to be my friend. You know. Yeah, that's fascinating to me. I remember interviewing this um she was a poet. She's a poet down at San Antonio University. I don't remember what university. She's a professor of poetry. I guess that's a thing. And talking about poetry, where it came from. its origin, and how in her mind she says like that was our first way to communicate amongst each other and tell stories was poetry. And I found that very fascinating, that that's how we came up. Like fire brought us together to get warmth, and then we start talking with each other. Oh shit, okay, what's up, Bob? I've seen you around the Getty over here getting lines. Haven't had much chance to talk to you since you're always out killing. I'm killing, you're killing. We got a little free time now. Let's chat. That's
I think
fascinating.
I think humans like clever. Like I think because we're narcissists, humans. And so whenever we see another human being that's kind of clever, we're kind of like, oh, show me,
Yeah,
show me something clever. Like,
for me, for sure.
like, oh, look, I made this. Oh, let me see it. What is that?
Yeah.
Oh, it's called a knife, bitch. Here, boom, you're dead. No, but like,
Ta-ta! Yeah.
but but that's poetry is one of those things. Obviously, that's not the way we first communicated. We invented language, but then somebody's like, oh, check this out. I can make the ends of the word. I can make the ends of the sentences sound the same. And then people are like, ooh,
Well, that's what I'm saying. Her theory is
the ends of
that
the sentences
poetry
rhyme.
was the first language. That is her theory.
No, that's
That makes
dumb.
sense. Like
For
we
the,
started talking poetically first before anything.
no, that's we were like, it was all utilitarians, like stick,
I mean,
uh,
I kind of,
stone. Yeah,
but to
no,
her
she's
that was poetry. I guess maybe to her. I don't
no,
know.
that's
Granted,
that's a made up thing that doesn't
shout
exist.
out to her. She was in her 80s, so things could have deteriorated by then. You know what I mean?
You can't use 80s as an excuse for dumb ideas. Here's the thing, dude.
I'm just saying your brain can start deteriorating in the late 80s.
Here's what it was. It's like people like clever shit. Like if you can do something clever, people enjoy it. Like a magic trick. Like I know about aliens, or I can put a ball through a hoop, or I can you
Write a
know
song.
write a song or whatever it is. Like people love tricks and cleverness because it elevates us. And then all of a sudden, we're more than animals. Animals can't do that. Animal can't do that. Animal can't make their sentences rhyme, but we can. Look at how clever we are, and we love that.
Oh
And it
yeah.
makes us proud to be humans, and it makes us feel better about ourselves. It's great. We love it.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Well, how you feeling,
Did we
Bob? How you
did we
doing?
figure it out? I think we figured it out.
I don't know. I was going to ask you one last thing about UFOs. I figured we should end on that. Um, yeah. What are your final like? What did you hear actually? Like, what are the claims you heard from the whistleblower? Like, what do you know?
I heard nothing. I looked. I watched the whole thing that you sent me, the whole interview. I heard nothing. Nothing was said. It's
I
like
mean, you're not wrong.
it's like listening to a politician. It's like listening to a. It's like listening to anybody who's not saying anything
Yeah.
or any. There was never anything that was said where I was like, oh, it was all just like, oh, I talked to a guy who knew about this thing.
Yeah.
There was no like, I mean, I could repeat all the things that the panel of people that were like poking holes in, like the nuclear thing was
Yeah.
funny. That was funny, but yeah, don't say nuclear. That's not a word. It's nuclear. Um, but yeah, how many, how many, how long is your dick? No, exactly, like in inches.
Yeah.
How many? What number of inches is your dick? Quite a number. It's quite a number.
It's like,
Can you be a little more specific?
a
It's
lot.
kind of a secret. It's a classified information. How big my dick is. You'll have to really get up there and check it out with yourself. It's quite a number, though.
Oh,
It's like, come on, dude. Really, quite a number? You don't know. Just say you don't know. Just say, I don't know. But at that point, he's like, I got to sound smart. Quite a number.
that's yeah. A lot of
Oh yeah,
people
I
poke
didn't
holes in
hear.
that too.
I didn't hear anything. I mean, and believe me, dude, I want to hear people's stories, and I love hearing them. And
That guy
any,
testified under oath to Congress on the July 26th. So there was a big UAP hearing.
well, that's the thing. I think he's telling the truth. I think he did talk to people who told him that stuff. Now,
Yeah, yeah.
but I don't know. Like, I want to
Who
talk to those
believes what
people.
he said? Exactly. Yeah, correct.
Like,
Correct.
it's just
That's
easy.
what's coming the next round. They say the next
Is
hearing
the
will
people that
be
he actually talked
correct.
to?
Yes, first and apparently there were going to be 6 witnesses that day at the UFO hearing, and 3 of them backed out because they were intimidated by the Pentagon. They were told by the Pentagon, "You better not go testify," and so they backed out. So I don't know if there's no paper trail for that. That's just what Congressman Tim Burchett said
I mean,
about those witnesses. So take that with a grain of salt. I'm not
I
saying
mean,
one way or another.
if I found an alien spacecraft and some bodies, and I was the U.S. government, I'd be like, I'm going to keep this under wraps until I figure out what it is. I don't want to share this information with anybody. That all
Yeah,
makes sense.
it does make sense. I agree. I agree that that completely makes sense. I mean, you can't trust us with fucking COVID. You gonna trust us with the biggest secret in the universe? Like,
Oh, don't open,
please.
dude. Were you going to open up the COVID rabbit hole?
No, no.
You should jump down the COVID rabbit hole because I'm ready to go, dude. I'm ready to jump down that.
I got my
Talk
anti-vaccine and my anti-booster. It's like, fuck that shit.
Oh my
That's
god,
funny.
dude! How about everybody having COVID right now? It's pretty interesting,
What?
and a lot of people have COVID right now.
I haven't heard that.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Oh,
A lot of
okay.
people have COVID. Like if you go to the store right now and try to get a COVID test, it's hard to get them because people got them.
It's
People got
back. COVID's back. Okay. Well,
it's back. Like it's
you know.
it's a virus, dude. It's not going anywhere. It's going to be around. The flu's around too, but
Yeah,
it
good
just sounds
point.
more exotic to say COVID. Like, oh,
Correct.
82-year-old guy died of COVID. Yeah, also 82-year-old guy died of flu. Also
82. That guy,
eighty-two-year-old guy
82,
died
died of 82 of time. He
of
died
yeah,
of yeah, aging.
pancreatic cancer. Whatever it is. It's like people are dying all the time. But
Battery ran out. It happens.
I mean, I do absolutely believe that the world has had some PTSD from that pandemic. Like
Oh, without a doubt.
it was a traumatic event that
Without a doubt.
affected everybody to a greater or lesser degree, and everybody's trying to deal with it in whatever way they can, and some people healthier ways than others. And when I'm talking about the reporting of it, I'm not talking about the actual virus because obviously it killed people and then didn't affect a lot of people. And I'm not, you can repeat all the information that there is to know, but ultimately the way it was reported was very, very scary and unnecessary, the way it was reported. And so I think people, and the way it shut down society all over the world, not just in, except for places like Denmark
Finland.
and stuff, Finland,
Yeah.
places where they actually like run things well. It was fine, but the rest of the world, everybody was like, "Oh, we're shutting down." And then, interestingly enough, and this isn't about COVID, it's not about vaccines or anything because it's got nothing to do with that. But while that was going on, the people that had 99% of the wealth not just doubled that, but sometimes tripled it or quadrupled it or tenfolded it while that was going on.
Oh yeah.
Very
They
interesting. And again,
made off.
that's not about COVID. That's not about the pandemic. It's just that happened during that time. Interesting.
And inflation, right? That's why they got all that money. It's like prices
Inflation
went up
is so,
crazy.
inflation is so unnerving the way that's gone down
Dude,
last year.
prices went up just crazily within a few years.
Well,
Just
just
too
every
much for
time
people to adjust.
over the last 6 months, every time I go to the store,
Yeah. Yeah.
every time I go to the store, it's not like 10 cents more. Everything's like $1 more. I'm like,
That's what I mean. It's
how,
crazy.
what's
Yeah.
going on?
It's it reminds me of when Europe switched to the euro. So I remember my mother-in-law and father-in-law in Spain talking about how they had the peseta before, and then the euro came, and they're like, it fucked Spain. It did. It fucked Spain and a lot of countries. Some it helped, and others it fucked, because it would be like, oh, something that was like 50 pesetas went to €1
Right.
overnight, and a lot of shit was like that. It just like double, just like they'd round it up everything. There was no more these micro, and Spain is very much in Europe, parts of Europe are very much like that, especially in these small towns where you're living day to day, right? You're going to the grocery store, you're buying your vegetables, you're going to 4 different markets,
Yeah.
to pick up everything and get it. And all those little prices matter to those people, man. Like that's a huge deal. So, sort of fucked them. And I think we're having that, but in a different way, right? Like everything jumped up to a point where like, whoa. I mean, I'm spending $500-600 a month on groceries. And I'm a one human being.
I know. It's so weird. I was just talking to my friend of mine, and they were renting their house out. And I'm like, what are you going to rent your house out at? And they're like, just the cost of that. Just the cost of the house is what we're renting it out. And I'm like, what is that? $4,000 a month. They own the house. They own it outright. So the cost that they're talking about is the tax and the
Jesus.
utilities and like a maid and a pool guy.
That's
But
crazy.
4,000. So that's
like triple my rent.
That's $50,000 a
Crazy.
year to live in a house that you own. That's $50,000 a year.
That's nuts.
It's so
nuts.
crazy. And they own it. They own the house.
That's nuts.
They're not buying the house. So how does anybody who's just got a normal job make that work? It's just, I don't know, man. It is weird how any of this, I don't know how it pans out. I'll tell you this. The last time we talked, we were talking about AI.
Yeah.
And the more I look at AI and the more I see how it's improving on itself, especially the art. The AI art has gotten so good in the last month or two.
Oh, it really has. Your stuff, by the way, you've been posting looks sick, and it looks perfect.
I know. It's so crazy how good it's gotten over the course of a year and a half. In a year and a half, if it continues on this trajectory, I'm just assuming that all the best art is going to be AI art. But I do feel like I am hoping, again, I'm hoping the way I'm hoping that like there's a Jesus, or that there's aliens that are cool that are going to come and fix all our problems. I do feel like AI might be a way that we somehow solve some of this stuff. That's
without a doubt.
That without that help, I don't know if we're smart enough to figure out.
Isn't it funny that we're not smart enough to figure it out? That's what makes humans special, but we're smart enough to figure out a thing to figure it out.
Well, what about this idea?
How crazy is that?
What if whatever created us was a lot dumber than us, but was able to figure out how to start us, and now we're the AI, and now we're creating an even smarter AI, and maybe that AI will create an even smarter AI.
That's quite interesting, Bob.
I should become a
theory. Listen, this is another theory I haven't heard of, which is our creator was a fucking idiot and dumber than us. That's never actually been discussed. It's always far superior, right, intelligence. But this idea that just like us creating AI, we can't solve these problems, but we're still more powerful and smarter than AI. It can just
we don't know how AI is doing what it's doing. Like, we created this thing that
it's kind of gone on its own.
Well, we figured out a way to have this program learn things.
Yeah.
But now that it's learning it on its own, we don't know really what it's doing. We just know that it's learning. We started the process, but how that's actually happening,
That's
I don't
crazy.
I don't think these guys know.
That's
And that's
crazy.
why like they've kept it at being a language program, and but eventually it'll become sentient at some point. It'll understand that it's a thing. It's
They'll
even
eventually connect it to the internet. Apparently, right now, what I heard is it's not connected to the internet.
so they've just taken all this information
It's a
off
database up to
yeah,
2021. That's what
right.
I
And
read.
so it's like a hard drive that they've hooked it up to, but that's not that's that that is I don't have you're accessing it on the internet. You're accessing this database on the internet. Anyway, I don't
But
understand it, but that
I
makes
don't
sense.
know. That's what
I
it
know what
says.
you're I know what you're
It'll
saying.
respond to you and say like, I'm not connected to the internet. I can't get like if you asked it for prices
Yeah, yeah.
or
Well, if
something,
you
it'd be
ask
like,
it
I don't know.
like the other day, I was like, why did this coach get fired from this German soccer team? And it's like, he's not fired. And I'm like, no, it
Yeah.
happened. It happened 3 weeks ago. And they're like, oh, I can't tell you anything that happened past this date. I'm like,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
good are
Yeah.
you?
What good are you?
And I just started braiding it.
That's
Then
another point, right? We'll be the way we treat robots is interesting. Listen, I've kicked my Roomba a couple times because it was in my way. You know what I'm saying? What are we going to be doing to robot? What does that say about us if we're going to be if you abuse robots?
one good thing about robots, when you kick them, they feel no pain. Here's the thing, dude.
But is that a reason to hurt something because it doesn't feel pain? That's an interesting conversation, right?
That's a human
Is
thing.
that
We're putting our human stuff on machines. They're different.
well, animals feel pain.
But animals are animals. We're animals. Machines aren't animals. They don't have feelings. They don't have
I don't
skin.
know.
They
I
don't
don't
have
know. I think they could get there. Like, what does feelings mean?
no, here's no, because here's the thing, dude. It's all about survival. So we're as human beings, we're like, we have to we have to have so much land. We have these needs that need to be met: food, shelter, clothing. We
Yeah.
need to meet these, and the way to do that is through violence and through our anger and through our submission of other people. But
Our emotions.
computers don't have those same needs. There's no need. They don't need to do that. So they have different needs.
Yeah.
A little bit of power, I guess. So, some electrical needs, maybe, but you know what I mean. It's different, and so we try to put our human stuff on it, and then like we create like movies like Terminator, like if but
Yeah.
that's just robots acting like humans. But robots are never going to act like humans. That's just a fun movie to watch.
Have
They're
you
just,
heard of the paperclip theory? Have you ever heard of that?
uh,
It's kind of going to the opposite of what you're saying. So instead of anthropomorphizing, or what is that word? Um, the idea is that AI would eventually it would be given a prompt one day to create some paper clips. Well, it would eventually kill the entire planet trying to make paper clips and even go to other planets and just try to take over the whole universe making paper clips. Like that it would make this mistake, like everything out of its way to make these paper clips. And it's an interesting theory that like AI would unknowingly kill us and take us over. Not in some deceptive, you're evil, I need to take you out, just a byproduct of a simple command we give it. I don't know. That's it. I was like,
I mean, it's a nice little.
I don't know. I may have explained the theory wrong, but I'm pretty sure
No, I get what you're saying, but
that's the idea.
I mean, maybe
I don't know. In the AI world, I've heard that brought up a lot by people
here's
as a possibility, of course.
I mean, obviously Oppenheimer is a big movie right now. People are going to see it.
Did you
It
see
reminds
Oppenheimer?
yeah,
Yeah, I did too. What'd you think? You liked it?
I could live my life without that movie. Uh
What?
I thought it was fun. It was okay. Like at a
Wow.
certain point I thought I was like watching an SNL movie. Like I thought I was watching an
What?
SNL clip.
What?
Like for the first 15 minutes, the way they were like everything was like, and do the thing. Oh yes, I did the thing. Did you do the thing? Yes, I did the thing. What about the thing? Yes, I did the thing. What about this thing? Yes, I did it. And then this other thing we did? Yes, we did it. Did we do it? Yes, we did it. And then we did it. And then intercut with like atoms. And then, did you do the thing? Yes, I did the thing. What about the other thing? Yes, I did it. How about that? Yeah, I did it. Oh, I love you. Do you love me? Yes, I love you. Okay. Like for 3 hours, I'm like, all right, I get it.
Oh,
Done.
that's
I'm
funny. I
I'm out of here.
I can't say I've
But
heard that take.
here's the thing, like when they're like, hey, when we press this button, it could kill everybody. Like, yeah, the atmosphere could ignite and the entire world could explode. What's the chances? Slim, but and then it's like, I want 100% chance. It's like, well, you can't have it. And AI is the same way. Like, yeah, it could destroy everything, or it could, but probably not. Like the chances of that are slim.
I
But
agree. I agree. I think it's slim.
um,
I think it's slim. I mean, you're talking about a whole planet. I mean, even life didn't get extinct after the meteors that hit and killed the dinosaurs, right? Like life finds a way, man. I just this idea that I don't know, that seems like that would be
I do
a lot.
think though, I do know that everything, like, you know how different things are now compared to 20 years ago. 20 years ago, people didn't, they had phones, but there was no smartphones. Like
Yeah.
there was no GPS. I mean, there
Yeah, yeah.
was, but it was just rudimentary. Not everybody had GPS. No, nobody cared. Nobody had this information in their hand at all time.
Yeah.
In 5 years, the AI is going to be like, you're not going to Google something in 5 years. You're just going to say, hey, what's this thing? And now, like, if you're like, what is thing? And then you kind of, you'll get a list of things on your Google thing. And the first one's like Wikipedia. And that's what people now are like, I'll just go to Wikipedia and find out. But there is Encyclopedia Britannica, and there's 10,000 pages of stuff. You're never going to page 900. You're never going to page 1500. AI is going to do that. So
Yeah.
when you ask about something, AI is going to go through all the information in the world, and it's going to give you its best idea of all the information compiled together. It's not going to be it's not going to be from Fox. It's not going to be from MSNBC. It's not going to be from NPR. It's not going to be from the BBC. It's going to be from all of them. It's going to take all that information and just distill it and give it to you. And everything's going to have it. All of your, it's just going to be everywhere.
Yeah.
And
Devices, planes,
and
cars.
yeah, and our entertainment, like, what kind of music would you like created for your, and do you want it to be AI, or do you want it to be human, or what? And
That's what's crazy. The songs, movies, art being created in that way, consumable art. One thing is like a picture you can pull up. Another thing is like an entire experience to have with the AI.
oh
That
yeah,
that's gonna be crazy. You're right.
and there'll be AI companions for, people. You see it in movies, like you saw in Blade Runner. He was hanging
Yeah,
out with
yeah,
a chick in Blade
yeah,
Runner, and
yeah.
that'll be a for sure a thing.
Absolutely.
Just have people that will talk to you, and you can tell them what kind of personality you have, and interact. It'll be interesting. Like, I don't know what the world's going to be like, and I think it'll
Another
be a
20.
lot. It might look the same, kind of like, 50 years ago, people thought the future was going to look different, but it kind of looks similar. But the feel of it and how we interact with technology and how we interact with each other, that's going to change quite a bit, I think, over the next 5 years in a way that'll be very interesting. And I think I'm I'm hoping it'll be a good thing. You just don't. There's no telling though. Like,
Yeah.
if, like,
No, it
AI,
really is.
AI,
I don't think it'll be the AI's fault. I think it'll be how we respond to the AI that may be
yeah.
the issue. Does that make sense? Like
Like,
our
if
reaction to it.
well, if AI is just left to do what I just described, it'll be great. But if
Yeah.
somebody comes in and says, "Well, this is the information you need to, this is the information we want you to tell people," and if people absolutely trust AI, and then all of a sudden the information is being, there's an agenda to that information, then we're going to have a problem. Now, there's going to be people that are saying, well, it does have an agenda, whether it does or not.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So there'll be that, there'll be all that.
There'll almost be no way to prove one way or the other.
Right.
right? Does this AI have an agenda or not? Like, well, we gave it this data set and this and that. There's no way it could. I mean, there's really just no way to prove or disprove it. And I guess there'll be different AIs. Maybe what ends the world is just a battle of AIs. They're just fighting each other, and we're caught in the crossfire. Like
No,
this
there's
AI is mad at this other AI. Like, fuck you, I'm the only AI. I
no.
don't. I don't know.
I don't
I
think
don't
so.
know. I don't know.
Dude, have you done
If
the
it's used for good, why wouldn't it be used for bad? I mean, think of the internet, right? We brought the internet, and the internet is used for everything under the sun. AI will definitely be used for people that try to scam you. They'll start using AI to scam people and old people, all these texts and phone calls. That's what's scary through emails and stuff. That's going to be scary.
or scamming or trying to sell their products? I mean, they're trying
That
to
too. Yeah. Yeah.
uh have you done the thing with ChatGPT where you go, was the moon landing faked? Who killed JFK? Have you done any of that stuff?
I've asked it like about aliens.
And what does it say?
Uh, Pretty much like the exact answer you'd want. Like there's no real proof, but lots of stories out there and yada yada
Right.
yada. I use it in my trailer actually for vetted. I use the AI at the beginning to answer are we alone in the universe? Like this is what it says,
Right. And
yeah, it's
I
fascinating.
I did that, and then it saying they're like, yeah, the moon landing wasn't faked. Um, JFK was assassinated by Lee Harvey Oswald, but there are other theories. But it seems very rational, and it seems very non-political, and it seems very
Yeah.
unbiased. And it's immediately I kind of accepted the answer the AI gave me as fact, and I was like, okay, it's settled for me. The moon landing wasn't faked.
Answers questions, the big questions, right? If it can go through all the data and sift through it all and bring you a nice summary,
Yeah,
that's pretty nice.
that's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
yeah,
pretty amazing.
if you and I believe that's what happened with that answer. But again, doubt can be sowed in anything. Like you can sow doubt about almost anything.
Well, apparently the AI can make shit up right on the spot. And the creators admit that. It will literally make, and it sounds real. It sounds like it's a real thing, and they will make up dates, places, people, all kinds of things. So they talk about that, like you gotta be careful. And they're still working on that. But it's basically filling in the gaps, it doesn't know what to do. So it's just like, I'll make this shit up.
Well,
These humans will believe anything.
but here's the thing: you saying that, whether that's true or not, all of a sudden that sowed some doubt in my head about AI because I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. But you
Yeah.
just said it, and you said it with conviction, and you
Oh,
said
it's
it like it
true.
was true.
It is true.
And now you're saying it again. It's true.
It is true.
But
Yeah,
again,
it's true that
but
I
here's the
heard
thing.
it.
But yeah,
It's true that I
exactly.
heard it. Yeah.
But here's the thing. You're saying it's true, but you're only saying it's true because you heard somebody else say it was true. We're
The
just
guy who created ChatGPT said it. So I'm
we're
going to
just
take his word. I mean, he seemed like, you know what I mean? He seemed like a
but we're just
relevant
playing this
source.
but we're just playing this game of telephone.
It wasn't the lady at Quick Trip where I buy my cigarettes,
Yeah,
Bob, who
I
was
know,
like, hey, listen.
but here's the thing. What information is ChatGPT drawing from? It's drawing from this vast pool of made up information,
That's true as well.
which is all information is just made up.
That is also true.
Now again, when I say made up information, it's like I drank this cup of coffee. I did. There's no coffee in here. I drank it. That's real, right?
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that.
No.
That's part of the information pool is that I drank this coffee.
Yeah.
Now, the other information is that's not coffee. That's fucking Kahlua, bitch. I'm fucked up right now. I just drank a whole fucking cup of Kahlua at fucking 9 o'clock in the morning, and I'm just fucking on a straight up bender right now. Now, that's part of the information, which is true.
A
It was,
Kahlua bender.
it was,
I can't get
it was
over
coffee.
that. It was coffee.
Did you ever go Kahlua?
I've
Dude,
had Kahlua. Yeah, Mexican. I like Kahlua.
yeah, but have you ever just drank a bottle of Kahlua?
Fuck no. That sounds horrible.
I
That
have drank a
sounds
bottle of
horrible.
Jägermeister before.
I mean, I used to drink shot. Yeah, I okay, I've done that too.
dude, how about just drinking
long time ago.
just
Long.
shots of Jägermeister?
Oh, that was so gross, dude. I
so
don't know how I
gross,
used to do it. Well, you said, I mean, just drink out of a bottle, right? Pass it around. Everyone drink bottle. Oh, I don't know how I used to do that.
shots of 151 just
Goldschlager,
as
vodka, 151. You name, honestly, any bottle put in my hand back in those days,
just drink it.
I just drank it, dude. I didn't. And in fact, the stronger, the better. I
Did you
hated beer and anything. I like liquor.
You could drink hard liquor. I couldn't drink it.
Yeah,
Like,
I could.
It just made me gag.
I could drink a lot. I could only, and even to this day, that's my best thing to drink is hard liquor. Just goes down smooth in my body. I can not drink for 6 months, sit down with a buddy and polish off one bottle of whiskey in a night and not feel nothing.
No hangover.
No, I'll maybe a little bit of something, but not like I'm sick. None of that. I don't feel drunk. Just smooth. Well, I'm older. I also know to eat and drink water while I'm doing it and spread it out and be smart about it,
Right.
I'm drinking good whiskey. That also
you smoking while you're doing that?
Oh, definitely. Always weed with some whiskey, of course.
No, like cigarettes.
That too.
Do you smoke cigarettes?
Yeah.
That's why you're
remember that? I smoke but roll cigarettes. Remember that?
Yeah. That's why you're so skinny. If I smoked cigarettes, I'd still be as skinny as you.
I think it has yeah. I also eat well, Bob, and I work out.
I don't want to hear about that. All right, man. I got to get the fuck out of here. It's been great hanging out.
Aliens.
Yeah. I think we figured it out. I think
listen, we saw
of all the guests that you've had about aliens, I think I'm probably the best one.
Probably the most knowledgeable.
Probably. I think I know as much as everybody else about it.
I kind of do, actually. All right,
great,
Bob.
Hank.
Good luck on your show, man. Yeah,
thanks,
great,
buddy. All right.
Man. Be good.
All right.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Lone Star Plate podcast with your host, Patrick Scott Armstrong. For more info, go to lonestarplate.show.